All right, Joseph Dorsey, welcome to Crucial Conversations, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. I just want you to know, first off, congratulations on your Eagles.
Hey,
I wore green today.
Let's go.
For you. Jalen Hurts
Really?
did his thing.
That's
I
what's
did.
up.
I
That's
did.
what's up.
I
That's
was
what's up.
intentional with my wardrobe.
Nice.
Because I was like,
yes, sir.
I know you were on pins on needles for a little bit, man.
Not really.
You think y'all
Not
got it?
really. I mean, I know, Commanders have, Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
He's serious, but it ain't his time yet.
Yeah, y'all hit 55 points. Like that
I
was.
know. It was serious. It was a statement. It was a
the
statement.
most points scored in a AFC or NFC championship
Right.
ever.
Right. It was a statement.
Okay.
Everybody always think we barely winning.
Right.
No.
Y'all ready for Mahomes?
Oh, yeah.
You are?
Yeah, it's unfinished business. Yeah, 2 years in the making.
Okay.
So it's gonna be great, though.
All right, we'll see.
I'm excited.
Man. Well, look, man, welcome to the show, man. So happy to have you, man. My
Yeah.
brother from another mother.
Yeah, man.
We've been down since probably 20, 22, 23 years, man. And so it's been wonderful to be alongside you and see your life just like unfold, man, in so many beautiful ways.
For sure.
And I know the audience is gonna love it, man. So I'm excited to unpack your story.
Appreciate
today, man.
you.
So, yeah,
I appreciate
thanks,
those words.
yeah, man, for sure. So first and foremost, tell us about where you're from originally.
Okay.
Which part, what city, and give us some flavor of like what's New Jersey like, man.
Ha. Well, yeah. So I mean, originally, actually, I was born in Delaware,
I don't know.
and so yeah, it's crazy.
Okay.
I was born in Delaware,
Uh-huh.
raised in New Jersey,
Okay.
and that line, born in Delaware,
Yeah.
helped me meet my wife.
Okay. All right. So we got to tackle that one. Okay. Born in
It
Delaware.
was actually it was like one of those a little moment in our first encounter.
Yeah,
But yeah, born in
okay.
Delaware, raised in Jersey. Jersey is a beautiful state, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
People always say dirty Jersey or they only talk about like the turnpike.
Yeah.
But Jersey is a mix of farmland
Uh-huh.
and small township pockets.
Yeah.
Nothing like not like your major cities, but it's the suburbs of two cities. It's really what it is. The whole state is the suburb of two cities. It's
Okay,
the
that's a
suburbs
really good way
of
to put it.
Philly and the
New
suburbs of New York.
Okay.
So,
Okay. That's a good way to think about it. Okay. So now which part of Jersey were you in?
yeah, so most of my family is from the New Brunswick area,
Mhm.
which is Rutgers University area.
Mhm.
And I grew up kind of starting in North Jersey-ish, and then we slowly moved to South Jersey. And so my younger years, we were in Middlesex, in Mercer County, which is like Central Jersey.
Mhm.
And then I finished high school in South Jersey, Burlington County, boarding town. Yeah, right below Trenton, 5 minutes from Trenton.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, it's a place with its own rich history,
Mhm.
Revolutionary War history.
Mhm.
Washington crossed the Delaware.
Yep.
And that's that's what you grow up learning about.
Right.
Not like down here in Atlanta, you learn about Button Gwinnett
It's true.
in the duel.
It's true. And look, Atlanta has its own history of its own, man. From
Yes,
Stone
it's a
Mountain
beautiful
to
history, though.
Savannah
For sure, sure.
It's a very, shall we call it, a diverse history here in Georgia, man.
Yeah.
And so tell me about your family, man. Like you guys got such a dope family, man. So
I mean, so yeah, growing up in Jersey. Well, okay, my house was always busy, and that because you know my fam. And so the younger years, it was 5 of us as far as siblings go.
yeah.
And that was 3. I have 3 older sisters,
Mhm.
and then it was me and my brother.
Yeah.
And then
3 older
middle
sisters is a lot. That's a lot.
but then in middle school years, I mean, like high school years, really,
Mhm.
middle school, high school years, we added 2 more girls.
Yep.
So it was
Mhm.
5 girls, 2
Oh.
boys, 2 parents, and an auntie or a
Yeah.
cousin or somebody always in the house at all
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
And so it was a wild upbringing. I actually had a conversation about it today. I thought it was interesting conversation just about how our life experiences prepare us for the world. And I was telling the person I was talking to, I was just like, me growing up in such a busy home has allowed me to be comfortable in almost any space because I have so many personalities that I've had to learn how to navigate, that I can go in any room and be like, okay, I know who you are, and I can be comfortable. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, I remember you guys. The house was just full of love, full of laughter, it was loud. A lot of games.
Number one thing, it was loud.
I mean, it was loud. And just a lot of people. Like, and it just like, it was just a fun-filled environment.
For
right?
sure.
It was home. It felt like it was like unique. This is the Dorsey's house, man.
Yeah. We were the neighborhood house, People would come in the front door and not even knock and go straight to the refrigerator. You'd be like, hey,
I think that's missing these days, though, man. That was a good thing.
Yeah. It was exciting. Papa Joe, Mama Carol, to everybody.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. I mean, Jersey was good years. A lot of fun.
So your family. What I remember is a lot of games, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys play a lot of games. I think even
I
I saw a clip on like 2 days ago. Your dad just posted something. And it was like, oh man. And so like, where did that come from? Was that just always the case? And who was that? Your dad, your mom? Like who brings the fun in the games?
Wow. I think it's a combination of both. My dad is always for fun. My mom is very creative. I think my mom, she's the creative one when it comes to like bringing everyone together. Here, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And so, and my dad is always game. You know what I mean? So it's a combination of both. My mom is putting things together and has instilled some things in us as far as that creative side and not taking life so seriously, taking time. My mom is the reason we went on vacations and did those things. And my dad, like I said, he's just, I'm just going along for the ride.
Yeah. And
so they kind of balance each other out in that space. But yeah, so I think, my mom tried to do whatever she could to just give us culture. You know what I mean? And she would, my mom loved jazz and like just different things and would share her life experiences with us and wanted us to experience as much of the world as we could, as they could afford, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's beautiful, man. And I know music is a huge part of
for sure.
the fabric of your family. I mean, I'm trying to think of other families that I know personally that are as musically gifted and as talented as your family was and is. I mean, I remember I used to do what's it called?
Karaoke.
Karaoke. I used to do karaoke
yeah. We
all
still
the time.
Do Listen, we just did karaoke the other day. My wife was like, I just celebrated my 40th the other day. And so my wife was like, what was the highlight of the day? And I was like, going home and doing karaoke with the fans. Yeah. Karaoke, serious business. Yeah. That's how we met. Yeah. Karaoke,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, karaoke. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we on a vacation. That my mother planned.
That's true. That's a good point. Wow. Shout out to Mama Carol.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's because I remember, I mean, like you guys, your sisters could sing.
Yeah.
You're playing the keys, your brother's drums, and he played the keys as well too at some point.
Well, no, he just played drums.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, everybody is just like talented, man. Like, again, what side of the family does that come from?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, it kind of came, my father was my pastor. You're PK.
Yes.
We're PKs.
Yeah, we PKs. Shout out to the PKs. Man.
Hey, yeah. So when no one else will, you will.
You shall.
Hey, listen, there's no one to play keyboard today. Guess who's playing?
Congratulations.
You are, son. There's no one to sing a solo today. Guess who's singing? You are. And so through that wonderful experience as a child, we had our own gospel group and kind of like, I mean, we just sang at all the different churches. But it gave us that, that musical drive and appreciation, and I mean, even like some of that, like with the music, we didn't only stay like the gospel. That's what I'm saying. My mother was cultured. So she would be singing like jazz standards, you know, and having us listen to the stuff that her father listened to.
Yeah.
And so, that kind of, you know, upbringing brought appreciation for different music and the arts, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we leave the family, what's your favorite game as a family to play together? Like, what's the one that is like, all right, we're starting here or finishing here?
The one game that we play more than anything now is kind of a combination of games, and I don't even know. Someone taught us the game. It's called Smoke the Bowl.
Smoke the Bowl.
Yeah, Smoke the Bowl. I mean, that is the name I have for it.
That may not be the official name.
You know, I've heard Smoke That Bowl. I've heard something else.
Okay.
But ultimately, it's a combination game of like it's taboo gestures and it's like one of those games. There's no like you can't buy it at the store. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those games you just do together.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so that's kind of a staple. Like anytime we go anywhere, we're doing that. And that's probably the video you saw my dad doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, he was getting I forgot who he was talking to.
He's probably talking to me because we're usually on the same team, frustrating each other.
That's awesome, man. So like I know that eventually you guys end up moving from Jersey to Georgia. So I'm sure there's a lot of people who missed you guys' presence up in Jersey, right? Like as you guys came south, man. But what did you miss about Jersey when you guys moved to Georgia?
Oh man, I think the main thing I missed was everything in Georgia is spread out.
Yes.
Yeah, so you got to have a car here. Mm-hmm. New Jersey, even though, like I said, it's country and, you know, townships, little downtowns, a bunch of, you could still catch the bus like anywhere 5 feet away. Yeah. You still can get the, train. Mm-hmm. You know, they got the light rail there. It was still convenient enough that you could get from Philly to New York. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And not have to aspect, right? I have Philly on one end and New York City on the other. That's a lot of entertainment, always alive, always something to do. And then we moved to Atlanta and they had not too long after being here incorporated a curfew. Right. You get what I'm saying? It's like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a culture shock. It took me about 18 months to get used to it down here.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
A year and a half.
Yeah. It was about a year and a half before I was like, okay, I live here now.
Really? So you were kind of fighting it. You're like,
oh, I wasn't coming.
You weren't coming. See, I didn't know this part of the story. You weren't coming.
I wasn't coming. No, I wasn't coming. And then my mother told me I was going to be homeless. That's what she said. You're going to be homeless staying in Jersey. Uh-huh. You're going to know who really loves you. And so she convinced me. She bought me some fresh Air Force Ones and said, move in.
She knows the key to your heart.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you going to give me something? All right, I'll stay. The Air Force Ones got me.
And you're still here.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So then you ended up going to college. Was it mechatronics is what you ended up graduating with, right?
Yes.
What is mechatronics? And how does one find out that they are interested in mechatronics, Joe?
Well, yeah. So mechatronics, first off, it just stands for mechanical electronics. Okay. So it's a hybrid engineering degree. Yeah. I didn't know I was interested in mechatronics. Funny thing is when I even started school, I didn't even know what an engineer was for real. Like, I went to, the registrar's office was like, so somebody told me I need to study engineering. Have no concept of it. Okay. My father worked in chemical plants, my mother went back to college when she was in her 30s, and then my grandfather, was like the maintenance man, and he also worked in chemical plants. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like that.
Yep.
All around kind of.
Yeah, jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades. Yeah, and so Yeah, just I didn't know too many engineers. I didn't meet another engineer in my family until I became one later. You know, until I got the degree. And then I was like, oh, there is one person I know with an engineering degree. Yeah. And so that was just interesting in itself. There's a story about that, how that even happened. There was an older gentleman who I worked with in a warehouse, but he had a business, made millions of dollars, lost it all. And he was the guy who told me, his name is Charlie. And he would sit with me on the line and he said, Joe, you need to get out of here. You need to get out of here. Okay. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm working with you, Charlie.
Right.
So Charlie was in his 60s.
Okay.
He said, no. He said, I sit here and I talk to you every day. You're too smart to be sitting here. You need to get out of here and go to school for engineering. And I'm like, okay, Charlie, you made millions of dollars.
You're right.
You know, but he had his own business, entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'll listen to Charlie. And I left that place and I got another job temporarily. And next thing I knew, I was enrolling in school to do engineering because Charlie told me.
Well, I agree with Charlie. I would say that I tell my wife this all the time, like, you're one of the smartest people I've ever met. Like, your appetite, your capacity for learning and knowledge, and then your recitation of it, like your ability to recall it. I learn a lot of stuff. I may not be able to remember all the things that I learned. I love reading. Maybe I'm comprehending, maybe I'm not. Who knows, right? But your ability to retain the information, man, and like put it in context. I think even the way you were explaining Philly, New York, and like the dichotomy, about that, like, you're just a really intelligent person, man. So have you always been interested in just like education and learning and knowledge? And has that always been like, I'm trying to remember young Joe and like,
No, young Joe wanted to play ball.
I remember that part. Yeah.
No, I mean, the funniest thing is when I was in New Jersey, and people, I don't know, a lot of people don't know the story, but when I was younger, first off, I have ADHD, unmedicated.
Ooh.
Okay. And so, growing up, school was tough because they didn't understand how to teach me. I never did the work because it was boring to me. And I mean, I didn't necessarily suffer, but my grades reflected that.
Yeah.
And so, but did I have a hunger for knowledge? Yes. I always, was the guy who could figure things out, take things apart, put it back together, just understood after I physically touched it, how it worked.
Yeah.
And so my hunger though for like knowledge, I think it came, the hunger that I have now came when I went to school for engineering, honestly. What happened was when I started at this school, I was in one of the lowest math classes, right? But I got connected to a mentor of mine, Dr. Kamara, and I told him what I wanted to do. So what I didn't tell you, let me go back a little bit. When I went to the registrar's office and I said I wanted to study engineering, the guy looked at my scores and he laughed a little bit. And he said, "Are you sure?
You could want it, but
are you sure?" I'm looking at. Yeah, so I had to start in like below college level math classes. Obviously, and I had already been out of school for a few years, working in warehouses and things of that nature. And so, got connected to Dr. C and told him, and his statement was, "You can do this. You can do it." And he was my math professor. And he just kind of took me under his wing. I took almost every single math class that that college had to offer, was a tutor, one of the most sought after tutors by the time I left that school.
Wow.
And I used to even tutor, like Dr. C would have these study sessions, open study sessions, and I would be one of the tutors to help other students from where I was. Have the, have someone tell them that they can do it. You know what I mean? And so, so Dr. C kind of started that belief in you are actually smarter than you really know, and you can do this. And so after I gained that confidence in my education, I guess, I've just been, I'm more or less like, I can do anything and learn anything, and until I hit a wall. You know what I mean? It's like I have no doubt. Yeah. I'll try it. I'll see if I can learn it, and if I can't, then I'm okay with that. But if I can, that's exciting to me.
Yeah. So what's interesting about that is, I think anybody who engages with you can notice that pretty quickly what Dr. C saw. Why didn't you know that about yourself? Like,
it's interesting. Well, because I am the middle child. No. We have theories about this, but I am the middle child of 7.
Yeah.
It's easy to get lost.
Yeah.
And to be, you got the babies, you got the older ones, and it was always Joe's going to be okay.
Right. Somebody's looking after Joe. Somebody like an older sister, or the expectation is somebody knows what Joe's doing.
Yeah. And so, I just kind of was, living life. No one really kind of pushing too much. I mean, they saw the musical gifts. Yeah. They would push there. But intellectually, no one cared. Only person that said something later in life, we were in our 20s, was my brother. And he said, Joe, everybody knows you're a genius. Flattery.
But what? Well, he had game. So.
But I just sat, it stuck with me. I'm like, what does he mean by that? Am I not normal? You know what I mean? And so, it's relative, right? I don't think I'm a genius. But I think that, like you said, I don't realize, it's essentially what you were alluding to. I don't realize the potential that I have or had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just didn't see. Another thing is, like, I was always focused on everyone else too. Okay. And that's something that had to change, something that had to grow in, seeing myself. But I was always trying to take care of everybody.
Ooh, so. Yeah. Oh man, so many things we could unpack there. All right. So speaking of your intelligence, one of the smartest things you did was find one Tara Nicole Dorsey.
Yes.
Right?
I married up. Yes, sir.
We both did.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about that, man. How did y'all meet? There's a Delaware connection in there, sounds like, as well.
Right,
too,
right.
So,
that's right.
Unpack that, man. How did y'all meet?
So, while I was studying still, mechatronics, she was coming out. I used to, on the weekends, work. Buddies of mine owned a valet parking company.
Okay, I remember this.
Yeah. And so on the weekends, I would pick up shifts and work valet. And she was coming out of one of the restaurants. It was actually a restaurant that I wasn't supposed to be at, but I had my restaurant that I normally was at closed, and I didn't have anywhere to go. Might have been homeless. Might not have been. Low key. Right. And so I was like, well, I ain't going home. There's no really. So I went to another restaurant, and she walked out of the restaurant. And I honestly, a lot of the guys, if they saw a beautiful woman, would hit on her. But they knew that Joe was kind of reserved. Like, I didn't really do all that. And so this day, she came out and she said, I wish someone would carry me to the car. And she didn't park with valet. And at that restaurant, when people say that, the valets all know that's a $10 tip. Okay. It's like, oh, you parked down the hill.
All right.
And so I said, somebody might be able to carry you to the car. And And that started a small conversation. And she said she could tell from my accent that I wasn't from Georgia. Where you from?
Yeah.
And I was like, New Jersey. She was like, no, you're not. I was like, yes, I am. Where were you born? Delaware. Who's born in Delaware?
You sound just like her, by the way.
It's like, oh my gosh. And that was, I saw the feisty side, I guess. And I was like, I like this girl. And we had a small conversation talking about some of the things we did. At that time, I still worked out of a studio, was doing media stuff, and she was a photographer full time at that time. She had left her corporate job to do photography full time. And so that was kind of the common connection. And when she walked away, one of the guys came up to me, like I said before, knowing that I was reserved, and was like, hey, I saw you talking to that girl. And I was like, man, I'm scared.
Ooh.
And he was like, scared? What you scared of a female for? And I was just like, I think that's the last girl I'll ever date. And he was like, invite me to the wedding. I didn't invite him to the wedding. But we got married actually a year and like maybe a week.
Wow.
To the date that we met.
So y'all would have met in 2012 then.
Yeah, July 1st, 2012. And we got married 2 weeks. So it was July 13th, 2013. Yeah. So. Wow.
That's a cool story, man.
Hey, man.
So, immediately you just,
it was something, I don't even know, man. I felt that way. I don't know, the conversation, she was kind of throwing shade, honestly. She was like
that's terrible.
Trying to figure it out. Like, I don't know if I want to even engage. But I saw through it.
Yeah. And
even it was funny because I even told her recently we saw some old pictures and I was like, oh, that was the picture that let me know you were actually pretty.
Oh my God. You did not say that. That's hilarious.
You know our relationship is crazy. But yeah, because it was night.
Yeah.
Okay. It was nighttime. I hit her with the classic line at night too. She was like, how did you even see it? Because I said, she came down and said, I wish someone would carry me to the car. And I was like, well, someone might carry you to the car. And then I looked at her and I said, your eyes are amazing. And that was it. Game over.
That's what got her. That's what got her hooked.
Hey, it's a classic.
That's awesome. So you guys are celebrating 11 this...
No, 12.
Oh, it's 25, man.
Yeah,
I'm still in 24, man.
Yeah, man.
12. All right.
12.
So, yeah, 12 this year. Okay. Gotcha, man. Well, congratulations, man. So big year. Turn 40.
Hey.
How's that going?
I'm in physical therapy. No, I'm just kidding.
You're right. Exactly. Frozen shoulder, right?
Frozen shoulder. Yeah. Nah, man, I'm getting better. I don't know what that was, but yeah, I'm good though. I'm excited about the next 40. Someone asked me, how does it feel? I said, I feel settled. I'm settled. I know a lot. I can almost categorize each decade. I think my 30s, I was going through not midlife crisis, but I was more or less not sure on who I will be. Who will I be?
Yeah.
And so in that uncertainty, I just felt lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I reminded a buddy of mine the other day. I was like, I came to you and I told you I was lost, and you said, don't tell me that. Because he grew up with me. Like, man, you always got it together. I'm like, no, I was lost.
Yeah.
I said, but guess what? I don't feel that anymore. I don't feel that anymore. I'm just excited, and I know exactly who I am and who I will be.
That's beautiful, man. I think some of it's understandable, because you had a lot of significant life events.
Sure.
And as I started recalling it, it was in a relatively short period of time.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I got the dates right. You get married in July. David passes away in October.
Yeah.
And then the following year, that's when Phoebe passes away.
So we get married, and mind you, I just met the girl a year ago.
Yeah.
Right. So it's July 1st we meet. We're married July 13th. 3 months, pretty much.
Yeah.
Massive life event. My brother, my best friend, passed away unexpectedly, inconclusive. Have my own theories, but and my parents don't live here. He lived down here
because they had moved back.
They had already moved back, and now, I kind of feel for my wife because she had to deal with someone who goes into a deep depression, and she's still learning who I am. And so that happens the week of his funeral. The week after we found out we were pregnant, and then 8 months after that, we lost Phoebe. So it was within the year, essentially, that I experienced losing my brother and then losing my first child. And it was a stillbirth. It wasn't like, I'm not trying to diminish anything,
Of course not.
because sometimes people can have, miscarriages and things of that nature. And that's definitely traumatizing. But we have pictures of Phoebe on the wall.
Yeah.
And my wife had to give birth to, we had a stillbirth. She had to give birth to a dead baby. And then there was hit after hit after hit within the next 2 years, just different family members, some close, some not so close. But we were going to funerals so much that we were just numb, all unexpected funerals. Not, oh, they're getting older and, they'll go any day now. It's, unexpected. Cancer only got a few weeks to live. Just heart attacks. So within 2 years of marriage, I can't recall how many funerals it just becomes a blur. I know the people, I see the faces. Yeah. I know exactly who passed away in those years, but it's just a blur. And I was so out of it. For me, the toughest one was definitely my brother. And then to try to console someone while you're still broken. My wife, she felt every kick. She felt every movement for months. And I'm still broken. And now my wife's broken and I have to be there for her. And so it was definitely tough on our marriage. We called you. We called different people who we know that we could talk to without the filter. We're definitely in a different place. Yeah. And we were talking about it today because my wife just finished putting together a little book that she's been working on. Honestly, she's been working on it for the last 12 years, really. And it wasn't a book 12 years ago, but it became a book recently. Yeah. She hasn't put it out just yet, but she started this thing called Blessed to Bear Fruit, right? Yeah. So she, tries to help other women who are women in waiting or have infertility issues or, have some similar experiences. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I remember David.
Yeah.
Such a bright personality.
Amazing. Yeah, he's amazing.
Fun. creative, charismatic, optimistic, hyper,
For sure.
funny.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
Like could just break anybody's cold nature.
Yeah.
David, he could win you over. Like
Right.
he had it.
Yeah.
And just one of the most special people to be around. You mentioned that he was your best friend. You know?
Yeah. He was a lot of people's best friend. That's the personality. You
Yeah.
get what I mean?
Yeah.
He was my best friend, yeah, but he's also my oldest sister's best friend. Any one of them can say he was my best friend.
Yeah.
Because that's just him, man.
Yeah.
He loved people. You know, I was thinking about it, and if you walked into a room with David in that room, you may have gone in like silently or like, quiet, walking in the room. By the time you were leaving, he was your best friend.
Yeah.
You love
love
David.
it. Yeah.
Because he was just the character. He had that, magnetic personality, infectious, very foolish, very funny, naturally funny,
just naturally
funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just affected everyone like that.
How was that losing him, man? How I have a brother.
Yeah.
He's been my best friend for a long time.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point, I had a conversation. I'm like, man, if either of us die, like we just have to have bunk bed caskets. Cause right. So like, I cannot imagine you've experienced that. How was that, man?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, for me, life kind of spiraled out of control in the sense, not necessarily like drugs and all that stuff. No. But when I lost my brother, like I said, I was still in school at the time. I dropped out of school. I couldn't, there was never a moment, there was very few peaceful moments in my head. And as much as I tried to focus on being where I was, I was gone. 3 years into my marriage, my wife said, I lost the man I met the day your brother died.
Ooh.
And, it was rough. I can say for me to finally get to a place where I was fully okay with talking about it took 7 years. 7 years to be okay. Just talking about it. There's just certain people that are unreplaceable. And he was just one of those type of people. I was frustrated with friendships, connections, because it was a disservice to everyone who wanted to be my friend, because I was trying to find my brother in all of them, and they would always let me down. And that wasn't fair to them, but that's what I was looking for my brother. Like, yo, I need the person who tells me the truth, but also makes me laugh about it, And I think it hurt, me in building friendships and relationships, because I've always kept the wall, because I'm like, you're not my brother. Even my wife.
Yeah.
Even my wife, she would say it all the time. Like, I know I'm not your brother. She has to, if you're going to preface every, things you say like that, I know I'm not your brother, but, that lets me know that I must have made you feel in a way that you have to say that to me to qualify what you're about to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, it was tough. Prior to losing my brother, there was something people said about me. First off, I didn't even know I was depressed. Okay? I didn't know it. I was just living life and miserable. Lonely, but in a room full of people, and what people used to say before I lost my brother, one thing my wife, she recognized as well. She used to be like, why do everyone always say to you they love your smile? It would happen week after week. Someone, wherever we were, I love your smile. And she'd be like, why does everybody tell you that they love your smile? I don't know. I smiled a lot.
You said, tell these women to stop complimenting your smile. How about
Yeah,
that, right?
right. Look, no. Who was that? No. And then it stopped. It stopped. And I remember the day I fully recognized that it stopped was I was at a conference, an entrepreneurship conference, and someone walked up to me years and years later and said, I love your smile. And I broke down in tears.
Because you hadn't heard it in. So.
Broke down in tears.
Wow.
And I knew I freaked the guy out.
Yeah. He's like, sorry?
Bro, I just said, hey, man, you got a great smile. But I freaked him out because it's like, yo, this dude just started crying. I told him he had a great smile. And then I told him why, hey, I used to smile all the time. But and I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah.
And you just reminded me that I think I'm on the other side of this thing. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
What do you feel like helped you during the process? With therapy, like wife reading, meditation, prayer, like what, or isolation? Like what do you feel like helped you when you look back? Yeah.
Time. I mean, it sounds,
it's your truth.
It's the reality. I failed in so many different ways. There was different vices that I picked up that were tough on my wife and I. Self-coping. But I did therapy. I talked to people. Time was it. But I think another thing that helped was I began to have no expectations of people and allowed myself to get connected to people again. And not every relationship, was deeper, but I would allow myself to be vulnerable with people.
Yeah.
And, I think that probably was the biggest thing. Getting, having good times with people who aren't your brother and laughing and cutting up, because, I said the statement earlier, I was lonely in a room full of people. And so there was people who wanted to be around. There were people who wanted to be around, but eventually you have loneliness, but then you have social isolation.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Loneliness, like I said, I could be in a room full of people and I'm still alone. Yeah. But social isolation, now I'm not even in a room with people and I'm spiraling down this pit. There's I'm working on something now, so I know like some of the stats in my head, just about like 20, it's like people who suffer with loneliness, it's like, I think it's 50, it's like smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Wow.
Your life expectancy lowers.
The impact on
that's the impact on your life. It's like it's like smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Yeah, we're meant to be in community with others.
We're meant to be connected to other people. And there's other stats that say, you can lower your life expectancy by 25%. Loneliness, social isolation, it's even worse. So I'm lonely, then eventually become, a recluse, or I separate myself from everyone, and now I'm alone, socially isolated, not talking to anyone, not connecting to anyone, and just my worst enemy.
Was that rock bottom for you?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I never had like suicidal thoughts like that, or anything like that, but it was just a dark, dark place. And I don't know, man, it's the grace of God. My wife, a praying woman.
You got an amazing wife.
She didn't give up on me. And that, I think that's the biggest deal. Like, that's one thing. Like, I had someone, even though I was not connected to other people, didn't give up on me and kept kind of pushing, like, you need to talk to someone. Yeah. You need to.
She loved Joe.
That constant pecking.
Yeah.
But for my good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once I started listening and trying to, get connected to different people, I started feeling better. And then I started to recognize, another thing that helped me was I recognized that, I can't find my brother in one person, but God allowed other people to enter my life who had maybe one aspect of him. And I could really appreciate that about them. But there's other things I appreciate about them, but you remind me of my brother because you're very funny.
Right.
You remind me of my brother because you tell me the truth. You remind me because of the way you listen to me without judgment. You know what I mean? And so I began to appreciate other people because I could see them instead of seeing my brother.
So I have 2 questions for you.
Sure.
One is, how do you feel? What would David say if he were to see you now? And he probably does see you now, right?
Yeah.
40. What your kids got 3 beautiful kids.
Yeah. Thank you.
You've been married now, for over a decade. What would David say when he sees like who Joe has become?
Yeah. My brother would say, he said, bro, you getting it. Bro, you getting it. And it's only going to get better. You getting it, and it's only going to get better. Yeah, I'm be getting it too. That's his personality. Right. Yeah, you get. I'm be getting it too. Right. That was just him. Just the encourager. Not that he got that from my father. Yeah. My father is a great encourager. My dad's a great cheerleader, and my brother had that too.
Yeah.
And so, he's definitely the cheering section in my head.
Did you find that you and your siblings like pulled closer together during that time?
No, we actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we were isolating, coping in our own ways.
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a glue.
Yeah, it was. He was, before he passed, I told my wife, like, we talk about this conversation because it's just so crazy that he passed. We were talking about people in your family who are just like those glue type, the staple. You know what I mean? The someone, that person that connects everyone. Everyone loves to see them. Yeah. And I told, before my brother passed, I was like, the person that used to be was my cousin Vincent. And Vincent passed at 17. But everybody loved Vincent. He lived with us when he was, for a little bit when he was a teenager. And he passed at 17, and it was a rip, like a tear in the hearts of everyone, Everybody loved Vince. And he was like a big brother to me, And I said, and that was a tough time in our family. I said, that person today would be my brother, not knowing within the next year I would lose my brother. And so, yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy, whatever, I don't know, but it definitely.
Yeah. Everybody needed some time.
Some time to figure it out.
Yeah.
And now we're definitely close. Yeah. And we fight for those moments together.
Yeah.
But even like at my birthday the other day when I had dinner, I went, next to my two. Well, my family dynamic. Let me go back to it a little bit. I say there was 5, and then there's 7. 3 of my sisters were my cousins, but my parents raised as my sisters. We were all raised as brother and sister in the same house, and so. So my parents, mom and dad, had 4 of us.
Yep.
My 2 older sisters and my younger brother. And so at my birthday dinner, I put my arms around my 2 sisters and I just looked at them. And we all knew what that meant. Yeah. We shed a tear in that moment. But we didn't say, what it was. But we knew.
You didn't need to.
Yeah. But we were, in this sense, locked arm in arm,
Yeah.
But through many years, it was, have you heard from? How are they? Yeah. What's going on there? But the last few years, we've fought to be together, stay connected, especially since like COVID.
Yeah, I can imagine. So the other question I have for you is, what would you tell your younger self if you go back to, sounds like 2013, 2014, maybe even 2012. It's New Year's Eve of 2012, and you're getting ready to go into 2013, which is going to be probably one of the hardest years, the beginning of a long 18 months. It sounds like maybe even 2 to 3 years. What would you tell yourself, your younger self?
That's a tough one. There's a part of me that felt like I allowed myself to give up. And what I mean by that is, and I'm not regretting in the sense, but it's more of a, the path that I was on, I got off of it. I was in a program at school at the time where they were helping you and mentoring you to go from your bachelor's to get your PhD. And that year I had given a speech to everyone in that program and proclaimed, I'm going to get my PhD, not knowing in a few months my brother's going to die, maybe a month. It was August, so it was a few months.
2 months.
And it takes me out. And then obviously I don't have my PhD. And I'll get it maybe later in life. But there's parts of me that go back there and say, man, could I have toughed it out? Could I have stuck it out? And who would I be today? Would I be Dr. Dorsey today? I'm not sure. And so I think I would tell myself, stay connected to people. Stay connected to people who want what's best for you. And don't have any expectations in the sense of expecting them to be my brother or be like my brother or fill those gaps. Yeah, accept the people who want to be in your life. Love them dearly. Yeah, I think that's because I didn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I rejected everyone.
Yeah,
and I got frustrated with everyone, and I think it slowed me down, and it prolonged my healing journey. Mm-hmm. Isolation slowed my healing journey.
That's powerful, man. You know, one of the things I've always admired, and I even hear it in what you're talking about now, man, is that you've always been someone who's reflective, like always been that way, intentional, super kind, always kind, right? And but
tell my wife that.
She knows.
No, I'm just
you may be direct, but you're kind.
Yeah, I'm from the Northeast. That took some learning. Woo. She's
Right.
from Tennessee.
Look,
she's like, why are you
She's
so
just about as direct as you are, you know. So, but what I would say is, you very wise as well too, and that may be because of the upbringing in church. Could be obviously your parents. You have great parents, but you have mentors as well too.
Yeah.
Like I remember you had a mentor growing up.
Yeah.
You know, that you were super close. You spoke about another mentor. Like that's always been a really seems like important part of your life for you. You take trips, like you look forward to those moments. Why was mentoring so important to you? How do you feel like it impacted you? And is that something that, you know, you're paying it forward, so to speak, kind of looking forward and I mean, you got kids. So that's like the first mentoring right there, right?
Yeah.
But tell me about mentoring like that.
Yeah.
That's something I always noticed about you.
Yeah. I'm so appreciative of my father. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm appreciative of my father not being someone who's been selfish with his son, in a sense. Like, my father knew, I don't know if he knew or not, but he saw the benefit in other men speaking into my life, and he was okay with it. Now, my father is a manly man and a man's man, and he definitely spoke into my life. But what it allowed me to do was to see life through other people's life experiences. You know, my father was a drug dealer, drug user, become preacher. You know, he had his experiences. And then one of my mentors that you know, Patrick Brown, musical.
Yep.
You know, definitely aided in the music department. My father didn't play an instrument or anything like that.
Yeah, Patrick had the keys, right?
Patrick played keys. Yeah. Helped me, teach me, you know. And so, yeah, he's always allowed men to speak in my life. And so, yeah, I've gone throughout life seeking mentors, because I've just always known that, you know, and I appreciate perspectives, even though I may not agree. You know, even when, you know, you and I got reconnected, I was looking for my big brother Curtis. To be another mentor.
Right. Yeah.
We don't always agree.
Nope. Right. It's true.
And you like to argue. And so
I'm a philosophy major. What can I say, man?
You like to argue. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think, you know, the only way we can get stronger, become a better version of ourselves is allow people to speak into your life. And so I've done that. I mean, I was a pastor at one point. I've always had someone I was mentoring or pastoring to this day. You know, if it's, you know, from entrepreneurship to technology, I'm always mentoring. And my son, I'm mentoring as well. Sons and daughter. Yeah. But they also see, and I love it, that they see that other people will come to the house. Oh, so-and-so's here. Yeah. Pouring into them.
Yeah.
You know, they may be a part of the conversation. They may not be. But yeah, mentoring is definitely just a part of my foundation. Yeah.
So one, shout out to Papa Joe, man. Like, a great guy. And I love you all's relationship. Like, it's so beautiful to see you guys' relationship, man.
For
And
sure.
the genuine love and care, admiration, respect you all have for each other. Like, you all are definitely an example of a father-son relationship where it's gone from instructive, to like influential. Like, I want to make sure my son kind of knows things, to where y'all just
Yeah.
vibe. Y'all like friends.
Yeah,
Right.
for
Like,
sure.
y'all just enjoy being around each other's company.
For sure.
And there's that healthy level of respect as well too.
Oh yeah.
And he clearly loves hanging out with his grandbabies.
Right. Pop watches my kids.
Right.
Mimi doesn't come so much.
Yeah. Pop was like,
Pop-Pop's
when's the
there.
next flight? I'm on it.
Yeah.
So kind of wrap it up, man. My questions for you would be, what would you say to others, like you,
Mm-hmm.
who have gone through similar experiences, right?
Mm.
And actually, you know what? Before I go there, I got one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask this one first. So, how do you feel like your father?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like your the relationship and the milestone that you experienced with your brother, the loss of your first child? How do you feel like all of these things have culminated?
Mm-hmm.
How does it impact
Mm-hmm.
and influence and drive your parenting
Oh.
today, and how you, maybe even as a husband, right? How does that impact the man of Joe? Like, when you start looking back at these experiences,
Mm-hmm.
what how did they color, how did they season the recipe that is Joe Dorsey Jr.?
There's good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The good is I can remind myself to be present. It is I can remind myself in the moment of the most important moments. I can remind myself that my child needs me and I need to be present. My wife needs me and I need to be present. I need to value the moments.
Yes.
And so that's the good. I think my sons and daughter would say the bad part is sometimes I might have like this hair trigger when they're not respecting one another, because I know the value of appreciating your brother or your sister, because you don't know when they'll be gone and you don't know how that will affect you. I always think of in Ecclesiastes, it says life is but a vapor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is real to me. That is tangible. And so, yeah, so when I see my kids, they're babies, I see them either manipulating or doing something that's just not kind. It's really about kindness, really. That's the main thing. Are you being kind?
Yeah.
When they're not valuing each other, I might snap a little bit. Hey.
Yeah.
And then try to pull it back. But I'm realizing I'm projecting.
Yeah.
But I want them to understand the importance of their relationship and just value each other a little more. Appreciate each other. But yeah.
What's amazing is how beautifully you and Tara healed from that journey as well. Especially, the loss of a child can have profound impacts on a marriage.
For sure.
This firsthand. And, the fact that you all have continued to move forward and you have 3 beautiful kids, is a testament to you all's love for one another, but also faith in God and just like drive and stick-wittedness of life, man. What advice would you give to fathers? And because you spoke about something, in terms of Tara felt every kick, every part of that journey. And there's a side where you have to heal as a father.
Oh yeah.
And I experienced something very similar. Not stillborn.
Yeah.
But I remember kind of after the fact, eventually I kind of started dealing with it, because I was so focused on different things going on in my life at that point, but eventually focusing on my wife, that eventually I kind of was like, well, I lost a child too, right? It wasn't just her.
Right. Right.
And so, but I'm interested in like your story. Like how would you advise husbands or fathers, right? Because they may not be a husband, but like how would you advise men when they're caring for a woman, one, to like take care of themselves, but also like to be there for someone through an agonizing journey?
For sure. Yeah, I think one thing that I wanted to make sure that I did, not saying I did it perfectly or anything, but I didn't want to diminish her feelings or her hurt, right? Because like I said, she felt every kick. I didn't. She has a deeper understanding of that loss. And so I had to give her the space in my ears, in my attention, and my heart, to express. And it's okay to cry with her. She can see you cry. It's okay that you cry together. Sometimes we feel like we got to be hard or we got to be tough or we got to be, I got to be strong for the family. No. The family will do well to see your weakness. They will see it's okay. And know it's okay. Because it may be, I know from experience, if you don't, there may be times when she feels like you don't care as much as I do about this.
It didn't hurt you as much.
It doesn't hurt you as much. When you're just trying to be strong for her. So give space for your emotions, but definitely give space for hers and value her emotions. One thing that we were talking about actually today, because she finished the book like last night, or like she finished it last night. It was just super crazy timing. We were talking about just our healing journey and how even I'm going through a physical healing right now, right? I had frozen shoulder, had manipulation under anesthesia, and now I've been in rehab for over 6 months, just trying to get my shoulder back. And I said to her, it's so interesting how with my rehab, even though I can lift my arm at the top of my reach, there's still acute pain. And I said, and it's interesting how every time my daughter says she wants a sister, there's that pain, a reminder. Every time we say, man, the kids are getting so big, that little pain reminder. And, and what I said to her today was like, I just, yeah, we've come so far, but if someone was to say, are you healed? No, I'm not healed. Every reminder is painful. I feel the pain. It's not the same intensity of pain. And part of me doesn't want it to go away. A part of me wants to love that deeply still, And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that pain. Yeah, it's not the same, but the little reminders are okay.
Joe, man, I love you, bruh. You are just a wonderful person, man. I'm thankful for you in my life.
I love you, man.
For sure. I'm thankful that God saw fit for us to be able to be in each other's paths, man.
Yeah, man.
And your journey, I know is going to be, the road ahead is going to be beautiful for you.
Hey,
I know that, and I know that you're going to be able to touch so many lives with your story and your experiences, but most importantly, your perspective and your heart behind it, because you have a servant heart, and you got a wonderful wife, and I think the two of you all together are just like just this magnetic personality, man. And so thank you for taking your time to just share your story, man, and open up. I know it's gonna really bless a lot of people for sure, man. And I'll be here.
Hey, I'm honored that you would have me and talk.
Absolutely,
brother.
man. Absolutely, man. Look, even with my Philly green on.
And with your Philly green.
You know?
I mean, you a Kappa, man.
But I know. And the Giants lost already. So there's no point because, I'm true to the North. I mean, you kind of chose Philly. I was, Delaware don't have a team, so I get it.
Right. Well, no. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Giants fans, but Jersey is split. It's two countries. North Jersey and South Jersey. South Jersey is Philly, some Baltimore.
Yeah.
Very few Commander fans. I'm just playing.
Oh man, they already having a hard enough time, man. Don't be too hard on them.
Yeah.
So, but hey, look, I appreciate it, man.
Hey, man.
And man, we're gonna stay in touch, man. We're gonna stay up, man.
All right, bro.
Yeah, love you too, man.